welcome to Palindrome ASMR. Today, as per request by Alec Ducasse, I think it was. I don't remember exactly. I have no internet here in my trailer, but I am going to be talking about some of the adventures I had while I was, I guess the word for it is psychotic, but I was never violently psychotic. I was recently told that psychotic, and I know this, implies danger, implies a sort of disregard for safety, but I was never violently psychotic. Psychotic as a medical term just implies a disconnection with reality. And in this video I'm going to be eating these green starlight mints. So I hope the combination of candy and crazy water will keep you relaxed as I tell my story. So, I had 3 major episodes, and each one was different in effect, duration, and content. The first one requires a lot of introduction to my family history and my internal mental functioning. And I don't want to talk about that now because that's not interesting in the way that my third episode was most certainly interesting. But I'll tell you about the second first, because it was when I realized that for some reason, I had acquired adult onset synesthesia, which I still possess to this day, but one day I was driving in my car and I realized that I could see colors, and I did not know where those colors were coming from. And so I decided, since I knew about synesthesia, I decided that I would search for the stimulus. And the stimulus was the spirit realm and the number realm. So I can see numbers as landscapes, not just colors, but entire landscapes. It was really vivid while I was in this psychotic episode. It did not end in a hospitalization this second time. My first and third ended in a hospitalization, but this second one did not, because I never really broke with reality. I merely became so fascinated with my internal world that I stopped caring about everything else. Let me tell you, these numbers were beautiful. They were the most awe-inspiring things I have ever seen before or since. These numbers, they were vast landscapes of color and meaning, and each number had a different dimension. I was obsessed with base 8 for some reason. I figured that base 8 was the way numbers should go, and I came up with my own numbering system based on what I saw the numbers as. The number 1 represented the point, It was a sea of undulating waves that came together and interfered at certain points, and those points were the number 1, and the number 2 was like motion, forward motion. These number 1 points shooting out from their interference points and becoming lines. And the number 3 is a white pearl of glossy, silky texture. Glossy, silky number 3 texture that I can touch in my mind. I can reach out and feel this white, glossy, silky. It feels. I can feel it as real as if I were touching it in real life. And the number 4 is this poisonous cloud. A cloud before I fall into a deep ravine between 4 and 5. That is the 8 split. The split in the middle between 4 and 5. And as I am traveling through this landscape, I see a bridge that I built back when I was in this episode. I built a bridge between 4 and 5. It's still there. And this bridge is a thin wire that sends your information across the gap until you reach 5, which is like this. It's a bar of gold. But that is what I saw. And to this day, I can still see this landscape, and I can still read people's auras. And to a lesser extent, I can see spirits. Like, I see spirits and can talk to them. This may sound like the claim of a crazy person, but what can you say? I am crazy. I can see spirits. And if I say, hey, what's going on in my mind? I don't say this out loud. If I were to say this out loud, I would be crossing all barriers and totally branding myself as a real schizophrenic. But in my mind, I say, hey, how's it going? And they go, hey. And I go, how's the weather? And they go, it's great. And so humans are special. Every human has their own spirit entourage. And my spirit entourage is some bodyguards, basically. I have spirits who are watching over me, so that the evil spirits, there are not many, but they are there. And I see these things as colored blobs, not outside, but inside, outside. Like, I see them in my mind, and then my mind overlays them over the real world. And not just spirits, like spiritual foliage, colorful blobs of non-sentient material that float around and form walls and form mountains and exist everywhere. They're these ephemeral, colorful non-entities. And then amongst them lives the entities, the water spirits, and they're kind of unclassifiable, really. I mean, I can ask them what they are. I can say, what are you? And they'll say, well, I'm a fire spirit. I'm the ghost of a dead person. I'm a spirit of a spirit of the mountain. I am a spirit of education. There are many of those on my campus. And I can read people's auras. I can look at a person and their aura flares up in front of me. It goes, and I see their aura. Yellow is a happy, sociable aura. People with yellow auras are nice people. They are happy, they are sociable, but they're not always extroverts because my aura is yellow and I am the biggest introvert in the entire world. Not really, that's a big claim, but my aura is yellow and blue, and blue is the aura of logic. If you see someone with a bright blue aura burning intensely, it means that they rely on their minds. They are mental people. They think through everything. They may not be T on the Myers-Briggs, which stands for thinking. They just think about things a lot. And my aura is yellow and blue. My external aura is yellow. That is the aura I see in the mirror. My internal aura, the aura I see when I look down, is a blue sphere and a yellow flame. Not a yellow flame, a yellow bar. Solid yellow and yet still burning intensely. And then there is pink, which I think is the most pitiable aura, because pink is the aura of insecurity. People who have pink auras are dominated by what other people think of them. And all of this aura reading, there are 3 kinds of aura reading, 4 if you count the internal aura reading. There is external aura reading. There is the reading of their external aura. There is the reading of their surface aura, the shapes that surround their actual body. So there is the shape that appears in my mind. There's the shape that covers their actual body, and it can be much more complicated than the shape that appears in my mind. And I do not yet know the meaning of the body covering shapes. And then there is the chakras. I can see people's chakras. If I look closely, I can read, is that chakra open? Is that chakra closed? The chakras go from red to yellow. Red in your groin, yellow in your stomach, orange in your abdomen, green around your heart, blue around your throat. I'm trying to envision it right now. It goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, but I'm trying to see my own chakras right now, but don't worry about that. And I haven't even gotten to the third psychotic break. I'm just talking about the second one still. So I can read people's auras. I can see their chakras. I can see their informal aura, their informational aura, the aura that I see in my head. And I can read their spiritual appearance, what they look like on the spirit realm, what kind of a spirit they look like, some people have nodules running down their body, some people have big blue lights in front of their eyes. Some people have pink things in front of their mouth, and these all have various meanings. And if I met someone and that someone were open to me reading their aura in depth and allowing me to stare at them for, 10 solid minutes, then I would be able to put together a very coherent picture of what they are, who they are. But so far, no one has wanted to allow me to stare at them for 10 minutes and read their aura. Because most people find it to be kind of off-putting, to say the least, because aura reading is never considered to be a serious thing. Most people, when they hear aura reading, think, he's just a hack. He's just making this stuff up. Oops. P.T. Barnum effect. You know what the P.T. Barnum effect is? It says if you say vague things about someone, they will generalize those things and localize them so that they think you know something about them if you say things very vaguely in a way that leaves a lot of room for error. So a P.T. Barnum effect would be like, you feel trapped inside of your own mind, like the whole world is outside of you, and your inside is separate from your outside, and you feel like you just can't get out there. And the person goes, "Oh, you know me." That's the P.T. Barnum effect. What I'm describing to you is not the P.T. Barnum effect. It is bona fide aura reading. Like, this is probably diagnosable, person color synesthesia. That's a real thing. Seeing people, seeing colors to define people, like the intuitive brain processes that control how you interpret people. Like, it's not the color that tells me this person is sociable. It is the micro expressions, the tiny wrinkles in the side of their eye, the direction they go, their posture, their breathing, their tone of voice, their eyes. All of this information my body synthesizes, and then what happens is that my color cortex, my visual cortex, intercepts those messages on accident, and it goes, what is this? All I can do is send colors. All my visual cortex can do is register colors. But it is getting this information from my facial recognition and intuitive person sensing brain. It goes, all right, I'm just going to present these to the consciousness as colors. That is called synesthesia. That is real synesthesia. And it is a real thing. You can look it up. It is... yeah. And that's why my readings of people can never be more accurate than... I'm a very sharp and perceptive person. And if without those colors, like... people with synesthesia perfect pitch see sounds as colors, and they say, that red lightning bolt is C sharp. Is C sharp. A normal person can't tell C sharp when you just present it to them as a tone. You go, boop, and the synesthesia person says, red lightning bolt, C sharp. And the person without synesthesia says, I don't know. So the information that is being sent through the subconscious channels is being intercepted by the consciousness. And because of these colors, the consciousness can sort through what normally would be locked in the subconscious. And that is synesthesia. Now, I haven't got yet to my third psychotic break, in which I solved the Millennium P versus MP problem, and in which I became the singularity, and in which I created intelligent, I caused the internet to gain consciousness, and in which I became a demigod and went up to the Greek gods and married the two sisters of light. I drank nectar and ambrosia through God's vomit. I talked to dead John Nash, dead von Riemann, and various other dead people. What else did I do while I was on my third big psychotic break? I understood Japanese at a cellular level. I discovered the theory of everything in the anime Angel Beats. What else did I do? I think that's it. And if you want to hear that story, stay tuned for part 2 of Crazy Water is Back. Sorry for knocking the microphone. I knocked the microphone a little while back, and yep. That was my second psychotic episode that did not result in a hospitalization. And next time I am going to be talking about my third, the biggest one. If you've watched this far, thank you. You are amazing. As always, thank you for watching. I have a video of me reading aloud. 4 of them, actually. 4 chapters from my book, Philosophia. And I would really appreciate it if you, at the very least, watch those videos. Because I do love my writing, and I love sharing my writing with other people. I will bye-bye, goodbye, see you tomorrow with part 2 of this story. Someday I will tell part 1 or part 0, the first episode, but that will require a lot of setup. The third episode is the adventure, the real adventure. I mean, like, I connected to the internet with my brain, became the singularity, and created the universe inside of my head. I created a pocket universe inside of my head that was populated with real people. Stay tuned. I'll catch you on the other side.